following video showcases the views and opinions of young adults from the age group of 9 to 18 years. This is an attempt to get students to speak about issues that are close to their heart. Watch and get a glimpse of what the future of India is thinking and where is India's youth headed. Viewers are requested to consider the student's age before judging and voting.
So, let's talk about the youth today. What is youth? Let me try to define it for you. Scientifically speaking, the UN defines the youth as those between the ages of 15 and 24 years. But in my view, youth is not a state of mind. Youth is not a time in life. It is a state of mind. If you think you are old, then it means your doubt is old, your fear is old, and your despair is old. The only way to keep young is to keep your self-confidence young, your faith young, and your hope young. I am Kaustubh Nyati, a student studying in grade 9 in Dhruv Global School, Sangamner. I am here to speak about India's future, the youth. We, the youth of today, are a driving force of tomorrow. The population in our age group is full of ideas, energy and passion, combined with an unmatched ability to bring about a meaningful change in social behavior and attitudes. Now, if we compare the median age of the citizens of India, which is 25 years, and the average age of the cabinet ministers, which is 65 years, there is a difference of 40 years. Hence, there exists a gap in age, which leads to a gap in thought. This gap in India is much wider than in any other country. History reveals that in such a scenario, where there exists such a wide gap and most of the population is comprised of the youth, it leads to one or more political movements in the country. This was seen in America at the time of civil rights movement. In my view, the future of India is in danger. There are many factors that affect it, and the major one is education or the lack of access to it. The foundation of any country is the education of its youth. Education can make Indians worthwhile, insisted our beloved former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. A good education is like a boon in one's life, he said. Dr. Kalam's aim was to make education reachable, flexible and feasible to all. It's ours, the youth's responsibility, to make his vision into reality. School infrastructure is in a poor state today. Still 40% of schools are without electricity. Statistics also show that only 9.5% of the government schools provide free education to the children between the ages of 6 and 14. As far back as the 1960s, the Kothari Education Commission had suggested that the budget allocation for education should be 6%, and the government promised to meet this figure. Despite these promises, the current budget allocation is just 3.8%. The annual status of education report came out with some interesting facts. In its key findings, the student enrollment in rural India has seen a rise, but there is a decline in students' basic reading levels, arithmetic levels, and academic levels. Poverty, geographic isolation, gender unawareness, lack of qualified teachers, huge population, political unwillingness, language are some of the many obstacles blocking the contemporary Indian education. Lack of education leads to unemployment. Youth unemployment is on rise in India. At global level, the chances of youth being unemployed is 3 times as of the adults. As per the National Skill Development Mission document, 96% of the workforce in India has not undergone formal skill training. Considering the current employment rate, 40% of the youth is not able to find a full-time job. 76% of the households did not benefit from the employment generating schemes. Due to this, the number of dependents are more than the number who earn. And in turn, this hampers the economic development of our nation. The personal and social costs of unemployment include severe financial hardship, debt, homelessness, and many more. Youth. The critical phase of life is a period of major physical, physiological, psychological and behavioral changes with changing patterns of social interactions and relationships. Youth is the window of opportunity that sets a stage for a healthy and productive adulthood and to reduce the likelihood of health problems in later years. As far as 20% of the young people are prone to mental illness such as depression, substance abuse, eating disorders and many more. Suicidal behavior is one of them. In conclusion, the role of youth in nation building is crucial. They are problem solvers, have a positive influence on other young people, and are extremely ambitious. They have the ability to create an identity for themselves and move the nation forward. I urge the government and all the stakeholders to take a note of our issues and solve them. We are the future and our well-being needs to be taken care of. Right focus should be given to education of young Indians. Once a young boy or girl is educated, other issues like healthcare and unemployment can be taken care of. We, the youth of India, will make a world free of poverty, inequality, unemployment and exploitation of man by man. A world free of discrimination, a world full of creative challenges and opportunities to conquer them. We will create a better world. Youth is like a fire. It crept forward, a spark at first, growing into a flame, then brightening into a blaze.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. This video is brought to you by Suyojit Viridian Valleys.